Hari Om, Shri Ram, Ambadnya. My name is Shivam Pednekar, and I work as a client ops associate for a bank which is JP Morgan Chase. I belong to Bhainder Upasana Kendra. Today I would be narrating my experience which I had in 2002. And it's an old experience though, but I would like to talk about it since that experience really created an impact. It led me to believe and understand the grace of our Sadguru, the love and affection that he has in his heart for us. And before I begin with the experience, just to give you a background, I started attending Bapu's discourse right from 2000 onwards. And my mother and my father, they encouraged me to be a part of the discourses. And since then, I've been following Bapu's preachings. And I've been following him very closely. Rather than saying, I'm following him, I would say that he took me under his wings. So let's go back in time and let me share my experience with you all. So in 2002, I came across the most unfortunate and tragic experience of my life. And that was related to my father. My father fell ill and he had an attack of paralysis, and unfortunately he was down. He was without a job at home, and we were facing a lot of challenges, not to mention financial crunch was one of them. I was 16 years old at that point in time, and I wanted to contribute towards my family's welfare. So what I decided to do was to leverage the resources within the family, and I approached my uncle. My uncle had a factory in Goregaon. I live in Mira Road. So what he suggested was you can travel maybe every day, come to my factory and work. And the first job that I did in my life was like a worker. My entire journey used to be like I used to take a walk from my house to Mira Road station, and I used to get down at Goregaon. From Goregaon, I used to take a walk towards the factory. The time span was 30 minutes of a walk between factory to Goregaon, and the same was between Mira Road station and my house. At that point in time, obviously, I did not have sufficient money to take a rig or go by bus. So train was the only option available for us. People, those who usually travel by train, they know how laborious it can be and risky as well. But that was, my best mode of transport. So a couple of days down the line, everything was fine. I used to make sure that I take the regular trains because it was extremely difficult at that point in time, for that matter, even today, to get inside the train. So what I used to do is I used to take a local from Bhainder, which used to ensure that I'm able to at least get inside the train rather than hanging around the gate. And I used to do the same thing when I used to come back home from Andheri. However, one unfortunate day, uncle asked me to wait back. There was some additional work and I decided to volunteer. I waited. And I was delayed by 2 hours. Then once I was done with everything that was expected out of me, I came back to Goregaon station. I had to take a walk. I was extremely hungry, tired, and completely drenched and sweaty. I reached Goregaon. I went to Andheri like my regular practice. And unfortunately, we did not have any Andheri locals at that point in time, but the next train was supposed to arrive. It was delayed by 15 minutes. Now, I was extremely hungry and tired, and I decided no matter what, I will get inside this train, I'll reach home because I need to report to work the next morning again. The train arrived. I was about to board the train, but I realized that the train is jam-packed. And all I could manage, I had my elder brother along with me, all I could manage was to get hold of the rod that we have in between of the gate. People, those who travel regularly, they might be aware of what I'm talking about or what I'm referring to. All I could manage was get hold of that rod, and the other hand, I got hold of usually in Mumbai, the local trains, they have like a metal strip at the top, which is meant to get rid of the rainwater, and I could get hold of that, and that's all that I could get hold of. I was standing on my toes, my entire body was outside the gate, but I had no experience. So I thought I can pull off this stunt. I thought maybe I can reach till Borivali or Mira Road, and the train started. The train started. At that point in time, the time span between Andheri to Borivali used to be like 8 to 9 minutes. And within a span of like 2 minutes, my legs started shivering, my hands were full of pain, and I guessed it that, in no time I'm going to lose my grip now. At that point in time, everything flashed in front of me. Everything, like my father, my mother, my entire family, my friends, all my good memories. And the last thing, I still remember the last thing which I uttered was, Bapu tumhala shevatsa Hariom, which means, Bapu, this is my final Hariom to you, the last Hariom. And I was about to let go of my grip. All of a sudden, I don't know from nowhere, all of a sudden I realized there is a guy standing on the left-hand side and he was wearing a white shirt, half sleeve. And all I could remember that he was as tall as me, 6 feet, and he had the same mustache like Bapu. I don't know who he was. I don't remember his face, but all I remember that he was as tall as me, mustache and the white shirt. I was shouting and requesting everyone to pull me in. I told people that, I'm about to fall. People tried, but unfortunately, no one could make any difference. And this guy standing there on the left-hand side grabbed me in a pinch by my collar. And the next thing that I remember, I was completely shut, my eyes shut, I don't know what happened. But the next thing that I saw when I opened my eyes is that I was inside the train. Somehow he exchanged the position with me. He was hanging at the gate and I was inside. I don't know how that was possible, but that is what I noticed. As soon as my eyes were open, I told everyone that, I need to get down at Mira Road station, but I don't really have enough energy to go through the crowd. So somehow people pushed me and, they got me down at the platform at Mira Road station. I came down to the platform. I remember I sat down there. I had a glass of water from the nearby canteen. And in a span of like 8 to 10 minutes, I regained my consciousness and Bapu's locket fell off. It fell on the ground. And that is when I realized that I was in the face of death and he came to my rescue. I wear Bapu's locket, even today, the entire family does. It was a tough time. My father had an attack of paralysis. We had all sorts of problems. This was another problem which was about to be added to my family, but somehow he came there and saved my life. And what that really explained was that as a father, he can go to any extent to protect his children. And there is no problem in this entire universe which is as big as him. He's bigger than everything else. So if it wasn't for Bapu, I wouldn't be, narrating this particular experience or story today. In the end, there is just one other fact that I would like to draw your attention at, and that is 20 years ago, I did my first job as a worker in a factory, and I had troublesome life at that point in time. In a span of 20 years, today, I work as a client ops associate for the world's second largest bank, which is JP Morgan Chase. Not only that, Bapu blessed me with a house of my own. Bapu blessed me with a beautiful family, a good-natured wife, and well-behaved kids. So what I'm trying to say is, he is the only one who has that capability to transform lives. And that is the reason he is our true Samarthya Data. Hari Om, Shri Ram, Ambadnya, Natha Samved, Natha Samved, Natha Samved. Love you, Dad.